and G.
Welcome to our channel. So we just finished watching episode 9 of The Bachelor with Peter.
And tonight's episode started off just as last week's ended, where it was the end of the rose ceremony and Madison calls Peter and tries to pull him to finally talk to him about what we've all been waiting for. At least so we think. She doesn't give the full details, but Madison is very concerned going into the fantasy suites because of her beliefs.
She does say she doesn't want to give Peter an ultimatum with whether he sleeps with the other girls or not. But she does say actions speak louder than words, and that right there is... And I feel like Peter understands because she's like, look, I'm not trying to give you the ultimatum, but this is these are my beliefs. I kind of like how she said it. She didn't fully go into detail.
Yeah, but it still was kind of giving him an ultimatum in the end.
Kind of.
So as we start this week in Australia, the status of the women is Hannah Ann is in love with Peter, Victoria F is falling in love with Peter, and Madison has yet to tell Peter how she's really feeling.
Yeah. So the girls all show up to their room, and it's really awkward because at this point, typically, I don't ever remember the girls sharing a room, especially before the fantasy suite. Right. Who wants to be there the night after they're with their... However, so Peter comes, and it's a little awkward, and he pulls Hannah for the first date of the week. And he takes her jet skiing, which seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun. Peter said that every time he's with her, he just feels like they're living life to the fullest. Yeah. And that's something to look forward in their relationship.
He likes the adventure that she brings.
So at this point, Peter is very confident in the relationship. He knows where Hannah stands. Yep. And during this date, Hannah Ann opens up to him about how she feels about the fantasy suites. And I think that she was very mature about this. She knows that this is a really crucial time to figure out, exactly who he's going to be with for the rest of his life. Right. And she said to him, no matter what happens this week, I don't need to know, I don't want to know, but just know I will be there at the end of this. Yeah. She feels confident enough in their relationship that no matter what happens, if he needs to sort things out with the other women, that if he picks her at the end, she can move forward from that.
Yeah, she definitely reassured him, for sure, which I think she lacked a lot at the beginning of the season. And now in the night part of the date, Hannah Ann and Peter do continue that conversation, and they reiterate a lot of what G just said. Peter does say that he can count on her, which is really nice because I'm sure he's feeling really confident about this relationship. And Hannah Ann just expresses how it is just about being together in the end. Then Peter presents her with a fantasy suite key. She accepts and they go off.
So they head to the hotel and they have some champagne and desserts, and then we see them getting pretty steamy. It was very exaggerated with, hands on the shower and all this stuff.
Like a Titanic scene.
Yes. But something to note is we don't see them in the morning, but we do see Hannah in the morning go back to the girls.
And let me tell you, that was awkward. I think it was Victoria was like, how was it? And she was like, good. Yeah. And that was it. Crickets.
Yeah. Clearly, Madison is very uncomfortable this whole week. Yeah. And as the girls are coming back, it just gets more and more uncomfortable.
Yep.
So on that note, Victoria F gets up and she says, time for my date. Yep. And she meets up with Peter. So now they haven't seen each other since that last rose ceremony, and right before that was the hometown fiasco. Yep. So Peter just, reassures Victoria, I'm here for you, I trust you, and I have your back. And I know Victoria really appreciates this. Yeah. Peter even says to the camera that he loves Victoria's fieriness. He knows that some people, it could be too much for them. But I think that's what continues to draw Peter to her.
He's like, it's never going to be boring. That's for sure. So then Peter takes her off to a helicopter ride, which is absolutely gorgeous. They fly over this beautiful waterfall, and he was like, I think we should go check it out. And she's stunned. She's like, wait, really? They go, they check it out, and then they have a little heart-to-heart. And how Peter expresses to her you know, that hometown date from last week, he was really bummed that he didn't meet her family, especially with how important family is to him.
Mm-hmm. And to finish off the day part, they had a nice little cheers to not giving up on their relationship, which I thought was really cute. Because, I mean, they could have given up a lot of times, but they clearly have that attraction and some type of connection, so they've been pushing through.
Yep.
So now as we go into the night part of the date, Peter says to the camera that he is fine with all the ups and downs that him and Victoria have gone through, because in all honesty, it's really made him get to know Victoria more and more of her personality and just more things about her. Because obviously if there's conflict, you're gonna see how that other person deals with it.
Yeah, it's definitely more like reality.
Yeah, it's not all these like butterflies and rainbows that it has been with some of the other girls.
So I love this night part of the date because this is the first time we really hear about Victoria F's like past. And she expresses how she was in a 3-year relationship and how that boyfriend in that relationship never once asked her emotionally like how she was doing or like how she was feeling. Where with Peter, he's constantly checking in on her, which is the sweetest thing and kind of like what a boyfriend should do or a lover should do. And so, which is why she's always so defensive when he does ask her, because it throws her off completely.
It does. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that have started a lot of their fights over the season.
I mean, I think we could all see there was some underlying reason why Victoria has been acting this way, because she clearly, you know, loves Peter, and there's always been something else that's kind of been bothering her and why she's been kind of defensive with him. Things were going in a really good direction. Victoria was saying, you know, I know communication is key. I know we need to work on that. What do you need from me? Yeah. And Peter, you know, kind of gives her a little bit of what he expects in a relationship. But then things take a turn, because then Victoria gets in her head again and the drama starts, where she kind of starts pushing Peter away again. Yeah,
for a little bit, I'm like, no, don't self-sabotage this date. Ugh.
Yeah, she says, I know that you're good for me and I just want to be good for you. And Peter said, okay, then don't push me away and like, let's work on this. So then we see it cut to Victoria talking to the camera, and she was so emotional and crying, and she was like, I love him so much.
Yeah.
And she was like, I've put him through so much. And I think she was just really realizing what an amazing guy Peter is, and all her feelings were just like flowing through her in that
I feel
moment.
like the walls definitely starting to come down with her.
Yeah, especially with her opening up about her past relationship and her just being like, okay, this is it, Peter, like now you know me, let's go.
Then Peter presents her the fantasy suite key and she accepts.
At this point, Peter can really see a future with Victoria, and he said that he's at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, it's really cute. And essentially, that's all we see. Night part of the date, they get their alone time. Next morning, they're really happy.
We did get to see a little morning part with Peter and Victoria. Yeah. She did not want to get out of bed. They were so cute. Their goodbye was really sad and long. And, you could tell they were definitely going to miss each other.
He's definitely like really invested so far in this episode with Hannah Ann and Victoria F.
This is going to be a hard decision for him. He even says, he was like, I am in love with 3 women at this point, which he hasn't said that to them, but
that's insane.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So for the 3rd date, we have Madison, and they meet at like a boardwalk right along the beach. And they jump into each other's arms, and Peter really expresses how much he misses her and how he's feeling on top of the world with her right now.
So they go to this really tall building in Australia, and they take this elevator and just keeps going up, 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 up. And then they end up scaling the side of this building, which is so crazy.
Which is essentially like a little thin staircase on the edge of the building to go all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Insane.
And I don't know what hit Madison as they're doing this thrilling adventure, but this is the moment where she's just looking at Peter and tells the camera, not Peter,
right?
But that she can see him as being the father of her children and that she knows that she's in love with him now. But she doesn't tell him.
Not yet.
Yeah, so then she just looks at him and just says, there's so much I want to tell you. And I'm like...
It was really cute because as the viewer, it's like, we know what she's feeling.
Yeah.
And it's like, just tell him, because I feel like there's so much of Peter that just wants to hear it from her.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're at the night part of the day, and the dinner conversation immediately gets intense.
Mm-hmm. So finally, we see Madison tell Peter that she is saving herself for marriage and that she's a virgin. And Peter took this very well.
Yeah,
that aspect,
I would say so.
That aspect of it, fine. But then things get very uncomfortable, and she basically says to Peter, you know, I'm not trying to ask details, but if you were intimate, I don't think I could move forward. And Peter was crushed in this moment.
Yep.
So Peter confesses, I guess you could say, that he has been intimate, and also that he can see him and her at the end, but he also can see that with the other women as well.
At this point, Madison is like really in her head, and she excuses herself, walks out, and is just in her own head really battling like her beliefs and her love for Peter. And after a couple of moments, Peter does follow her out and embraces her and just hugs her, and it sucks. It's a sucky situation.
It is. On both sides, it really is. I think it's very unfair to Peter, but also, you know, that's how she's feeling. So it's hard to put away those emotions and those beliefs.
Yeah.
She says to Peter that she doesn't want to walk away from this, but she doesn't know what to do. And he's like, then don't walk away, you know? And he says, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you're in this situation right now. And it kind of gets left off in a, I don't even know what happens.
An awkward moment, because she then
Just
walks away
from
Peter.
Yeah. So,
and that's how the episode ends. So we will see. Does she show up at the rose ceremony next week?
Peter is definitely going to have some tough decisions next week.
Absolutely. And this is where I think we're really going to see who out of the three is he really, 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 really in love with. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you guys watching all the way until the end.
Please make sure you guys subscribe, like this button, and hit that bell notification so you guys can see every time that we upload a new video.
Yes, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.